Alright, we're here again with another interview with Dr. Richard Holden, and the first question I want to ask you today is about Alex Jones as a source. How do you view Alex, and how do you evaluate the data that he puts out?
Alex Jones is more Christian than I wish. Can't really talk about Israel properly. He's anti-abortion, and I've lived through the years of no abortion services available and didn't like those. It's just very odd that we, in an effort to get a handle on the disinformation campaign, the fog of war, that we have to resort to all members of media, whether they be self-proclaimed important members. Alex Jones tends to be a self-proclaimed important member. And I just wish that we didn't have to rely on the fringes of the communication, that we could have some effort for a true Edward R. Murrow experience. I don't like to have yelling and screaming as part of the campaign to impart information to me. I would like to have somebody cool and calm in all ways, because I don't really believe that you can give a true picture and be upset. And Alex Jones lets himself be upset far too much, and he even realizes that himself, I think. But the things that tend to sell radio in Texas include bravado, gun rights, tough talk, pick a fight type of talk, and I'm not from Texas, and that really doesn't make me feel like I'm where I want to be. I've listened to Alex Jones, and I know where he's coming from, and from that standpoint, I use him as a source. But as far as me thinking that everything's exactly how he portrays it, no, you have to balance that voice with others that can talk more about how Israel is part of the calamity of the earth, and how the New World Order is the long way around of explaining what's going on. That we have a multi-generational 250 to 500 year agenda that we are slow to recognize as ordinary people, and that we haven't had enough truth to help us decide the answer to almost every human question.
Yeah, let's talk about that agenda for a second. You've studied what a lot of people have been saying about a lot of things. So what's your view? What's your big picture view currently of what you think may be happening and how we're moving in that direction, or how we're being moved in that direction, I guess you would say, right?
Yeah. Well, the internet blogosphere has made it possible to sort down through the story and arrange the story in a proper order, and after years of watching people in their blog talking to everybody they can find, you get to where you can believe parts of each and every person, and you look forward to seeing the perspective of each and every person, because you know them on a very personal basis. And so as we try and piece this together as to why Turkey could possibly be shelling Syria. It just sounds totally impossible until you realize that NATO acquired Turkey, that the EU has given provisional status to Turkey, that the world government is coming in through the UN, that NATO is a arm of the military arm of the UN. There is no such thing as a UN peacekeeper. The UN will always be trying to exert force and to take over the power that the people of a certain country have. They're always trying to amalgamate the countries of the world into a whole that they can control with their hegemonic plan. They've been working on it for a very long time, and it's extremely successful. However, the United States presents a huge problem because we are one of the few armed citizenries, and they have to somehow confuse us to the point that we couldn't possibly find out who our enemies are. And that's possible with a lot of people, but there are American people that definitely don't like to be the last to know what's going on, and they're starting to figure out that the enemy is existing, and we need to understand it, or we're not going to have our country anymore.
How close do you think we are to some type of UN tax across the world?
Oh, we're minutes away from that. It's going to come in as a cigarette tax, I guess. Of course, that's just a beginning, cigarette tax. Everything always comes in with the idea that you need to have something. You need to have a cigarette tax. You need to invade Syria because the Syrian government is so mean to their own people. You need to attack Libya because the Libyan government is so mean to its own people. The peacekeeper mission of the NATO forces is such a sham, we know it cannot possibly be described as a peacekeeper mission. Taxes from the world entity are minutes away.
What about taxes in the United States? Where do you see that going? Or what are they doing with that situation?
Can you play out here? The taxes in the United States are too high. And they know that if they can just starve us out, just tax us until we're unable to move, and ruin the currency, destroy the dollar, and ship all the soldiers away on the other side of the earth, and attack us from the air and from all media outlets, we're a sitting duck. We haven't been attacked by anybody for so long. We have no idea what that even is. And of course we like the idea of everybody else getting attacked, but as far as on American soil, we don't know what a bomb from the air would even look like, let alone carpet bombing. And when we know that we don't control our own military, that we can't tell our own military when to come home, that when we see the presidential debate as a debate between two people that we don't even care who wins, they're both tremendously impossible to use as a leading force. We know that we're in big trouble, that we are already at war, that we've had a decapitation of our government, that the secrecy and disinformation campaigns have been extremely successful. We have people that think we should spend our time learning how to be more mellow. But in fact, we've got to learn how to be more aware. And mellow and aware are not the same.
So the biggest question of all is, if there is some type of takeover coming, what does it look like? Who is behind it, and what does this look like?
Who's behind it? Who's the takeover? We've been destroyed from within. There's going to be nobody coming up to our shores. We've been destroyed from within. The fact that they could have 9/11 happen, and we still don't have it really identified as a crime scene, and we have no Sherlock Holmes approach, means that obviously the people that are not doing the investigation are the ones that did it. The FBI couldn't touch it. The CIA can't touch it. The president can't touch it. The Attorney General of all the way back can't touch it. None of them can speak. And our takeover is from everybody that doesn't mind getting paid under the table zillions of dollars to accomplish treason. Now, who would those people most likely be that could become extremely wealthy at the same time committing treason? How about people that really are citizens of other places? That would be a good place to look. Do we allow people to be citizens of two places at once? Well, the odd part is, yes, we do. So wouldn't it be a good idea to look at these people who really are maybe Americans and maybe not? We have dual citizens at all higher levels of the American government. And the people that are dual citizens are also citizens of mostly Israel. So that makes you know that Israel's on the docket for being a big hunk of our problems, seeing as how we're fighting their wars in the Middle East. We're dying in both Afghanistan and Iraq, and we can't get out of there no matter what. The president says on the way into office he can't get us out of there. He's not trying near hard enough. So these dual citizens have a network of spies throughout the United States, and they have been operating ever since World War II at an extremely high level, and they are bringing us down from the inside because we are the nicest, friendliest people on earth, and we allow people to take advantage of us until the most ridiculous extremes. And then I suppose at some point you could expect somebody to finally get mad. But so far I don't see many people actually getting mad. And if you're going to stop the invasion of your country and restore the rule of law, you're going to have to get mad. That's going to be the very first thing you have to do. You have to get mad as hell and vow you're not going to take it anymore. That's the very first step.
But wouldn't you say that the majority of people are nowhere near that point?
That's what I mean. We're very nice. We're very nice. But I think that eventually, if you screw things up enough, the American people will get mad. And when they get mad, there's going to be people that can tell them who to get mad at. And they're at first going to be told to be mad at Syria. And so they'll work a while at whether they want to be mad at Syria. And then they'll be told they should be mad at Iran. And they'll work on that too. But eventually they won't get any distance. They won't get any traction. They can be mad at the wrong people for a long time and absolutely nothing changes. But until they get mad at the Federal Reserve Bank, now we've got some traction. The Federal Reserve Bank needs to be taken over completely by the government. It has not done anything except sabotage our country over and over and over with bubble creation and depressions. Their mandate is to keep us all working at an efficient percentage and keep the money flowing. They've come as far as you can possibly come from that mandate, and we now have absolutely no idea where the money is. We don't know where the gold is. We don't know where the money is. We don't know anything about just about everything because we've had a Federal Reserve Bank as a secret organization from outside banking interests since 1913. That has been a catastrophe, and we need to change that right away, and that will be the first thing we have to get mad at.
It seems like many people have said something similar over the previous decades, going back,
maybe
100 years.
Maybe
even.
I don't see anybody doing it, and until they do it, until we actually take control of that bank again, which this would be the third time they tried to centralize banks in the United States, and we took it over twice before. So we should just be able to read the history book and go, oh, when it got this bad, we took it back over. Yeah, we need to take it back over. And we're having a hard time coming up with a person to actually do it because they fund, through the Council of Foreign Relations, all the media and all the candidates. It's a little bit hard to have a democracy with that kind of an influence.
Okay, what is the Council of Formations? What's that about?
The Council of Foreign Relations?
Oh, Foreign Relations. Okay, I misunderstood.
Is a branch of the same organization in every country, with the head one being in London. And it is a banking cartel and a political arm with how can we spend money and take over countries. The Council on Foreign Relations has contributed almost every presidential participant we've ever had has come from the Council on Foreign Relations. It is a Henry Kissinger directed extravaganza at this moment, and they are the center of the real government. Council on Foreign Relations needs to be totally, disastrously attacked and stopped.
What do you think the next moves of this global force, I guess for lack of a better word, this global, I hate to use the catchphrases global elite, but that's what comes to mind right now.
That's good enough.
Yeah. What do you think the next move of this group is? And what do they intend ultimately, do you think?
1984. They're just behind. Every time we get a little bit of traction, they slide a little bit back. What Americans find it hard to believe is that this is a war going on for hundreds of years, and the same players have been in this war, and they're hidden. They're hidden from view. And there are people that know the players. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. We can just ask the right people, and they'll be able to tell us the players' names. There's many names. There's here in Germany, they have plenty of banking interests in Germany because the Rothschilds have a place of origin in Frankfurt. But the family of the Rothschilds, where they had 5 sons in multiple countries, that is the banking cartel of interest. That is the criminal cabal that is using every element of subversion to destroy human rights, destroy human movements. All humans want is to take care of their family and their children and get a decent job and get to the end of their life and see their sons be as successful as they are. That pretty much routinely is exactly what they don't want. They wouldn't mind it for their own children, but as far as everyone else's children, they don't have any desire to see you be successful in that.
But if they feed off, I mean, correct me if they feed off the current status quo and then they disrupt that status quo, what happens?
Well, if you have all the money and you create chaos, it's a great time to buy. And they'll buy everything and start it again. They'll just start funding, and they'll be the ones that get paid for the loaning the money and creating the whole bubble and waiting until it gets to a certain place and destroy all the things that the people built and bring it to the bottom where if you have all the money, it's a great place to buy. It would be okay with me if they used capitalism in the right way, which is you do save a little money and every once in a while you go out and make some good buys. But that's not what they do. They initiate the market trends that for sure go in a direction that they can know how to invest. That's not really investing. That's called a sure thing. I would like to have a sure thing in my life. So far, I haven't had a sure thing. Never knew for sure whether putting money in this direction is going to give me more money back. I've had some success, some not success, and I would like them to experience that too. Some success and some not success. That would mean that it's a level playing field. If you don't keep your markets in a level playing field, these market manipulation scams destroy everybody.
For the people that are watching this and perhaps are concerned, what would you tell them? What do they need to? What do you think, in your opinion, they need to do now?
Well, Lois Capps in Santa Barbara put a big lock on her front door, and you have to punch a button on the outside of the building like you were going into a psych ward. I would want her to take that lock back off that door. And what makes you think you got to have a lock between who elected you into this capacity? I mean, what makes you think you need that lock? And she put that lock on 5 years ago. Now, before that, you could just walk in her office. But she said that she was told by the security forces of Washington, D.C., that she needed a big lock and a buzzer on her door. And so she did put that on, anticipating something. Don't we wonder what?
Does it have to do with the bullets that were purchased by...
Yeah, well,
tell us about that.
It's coming. They're arming. They bought the ammunition first. That was pretty sly. Now they're buying the guns. And once you put the guns with the ammunition, you're pretty much screwed on that deal.
Yeah. But who's doing that? What?
The Department of Homeland Security and FEMA and the Social Security Administration. Those guys need guns and bullets. The Forestry Service needs guns now and bullets. They need hardened checkpoints on highways. They need to establish martial law through NDAA last December 31st at 10 o'clock at night. They initiated martial law in the United States. The NDAA was attacked by a legitimate judge who said we can't have that permanently. And a month later, 3 other judges says, oh yes we can, and so we're still in martial law in the United States. So that means they can basically, if I were speaking in Boston, I would wonder if a cop was going to come up and just start hitting me over the head like they do in Madrid right now. And how we can just sit under martial law and just everybody's cool. Instead of wanting to talk about what you're upset about and why you're not happy, they want to help you become happy. Well, how do you become happy? Where's the source of that happiness? I don't want to take a course in how to become happy. I got no problem becoming happy. I got a real problem with becoming dad. And that's what's coming down in the United States. And when they get the United States as the prize, all the other chips are already taken. We're the only one left.
So the final question is today, what does the average person need to do right now, or what do you feel they need to do? What would you advise a person that was watching this to do if they were interested or curious about what you're saying and they want to start? Well, you tell me. What do they want to do?
First things first, I hope that you've got a month or 2 of groceries in the basement. That would make me feel a lot better if everybody had a month or 2 of groceries in the basement, but I know they don't. So, first things first, get yourself a month or 2 of groceries in the basement and make sure that you have water. Make sure you have heat. Make sure that you can travel. Get a passport finally in your life. Get one. Pay to have that piece of paper so you can cross a border. Sometimes when war breaks out, you can just walk across a line and get away from it. You won't be able to do it after a while, but at the very first, you can walk across a line, and if you have a passport and you have some change in your pocket, you can get away from it. And so the people that have financial interests, the people that have families, they better have a bug out plan, because at any minute they might have to bug out.
All right, thanks, Dr. Holden, and hopefully we'll have another interview in the future.
Sure.